The Biden administration's top defense officials were on Capitol Hill this week making the case for the president's $842 billion Pentagon budget proposal, with Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley issuing a stark warning about China's military ambitions.
They have a national goal to be the global co-equal with the United States and superior militarily by mid-century. They're on that path to do that, and that's really disturbing. We're going to have to not only keep pace, but we have to outpace that, and that'll assure the peace.
Joining me now is Republican Senator and Armed Services Committee member Dan Sullivan of Alaska. Senator, welcome.
Hey, Paul, great to be on the show. Thanks.
So I know you follow events in Taiwan and China very closely from your post in Alaska. And,
yes, sir.
The Taiwanese president has been reported is passing through the United States on her way to Central America. Not an official visit, but she's meeting with some Americans. And one of those Americans may be Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy, who has been said he wanted to meet with her. But the Chinese government in Beijing has threatened reprisals, said they would take some action if he does. Should he meet with her anyway?
Absolutely, he should. We should not have the dictators in Beijing telling American officials, particularly the third most important elected official in America, who and who he can't meet with. So especially who and who he can't meet with on American soil, for goodness sakes. But absolutely, he should meet with her.
Okay. All right. So what about she's not meeting with the officials of the Biden administration? Is that a mistake? Should they?
Well, you know, I mean, she's done these transits many times. This is her 7th transit.
Right.
And so it's pretty routine. What's happening, though, is the Chinese Communist Party, in my view, is always looking for a way to ratchet up tensions in the Taiwan Strait. Some of these, I think, they almost pre-plan. So I think a meeting with the speaker is important, as well as others is important. And so I think this is routine. And when you hear the Chinese doing their bluster, it's just what that is, bluster and saber rattling.
So I know you follow the military balance of power closely in the Taiwan Strait, and I wonder what's your sense of the adequacy of the American military preparedness in being able to repel a Chinese attack on Taiwan if it comes? Are we ready?
Well, you know, we have a great force out there. I think, you know, I'm still in the Marine Corps Reserves, and my billet assignment is out in the Indo-PACOM theater, so I see our leadership out there, and they do incredible work. But I will tell you this, you just highlighted that hearing. You know, I hit General Milley and Secretary Austin quite hard in that hearing, because this is the 3rd year in a row where they have brought to the Congress defense cuts, inflation-adjusted cuts that they propose every year. And I pressed both of them just a couple days ago at that hearing, saying, look, this budget that you put forward, again, another cut, and they expect us on the Armed Services Committee, which we do, to bolster it. But this budget that they put forward shrinks the Navy, shrinks the Army, shrinks the Marine Corps, and that is exactly the wrong signal to be sending to Xi Jinping or Putin. So to the answer to your question, we have a great force out there, but they're getting overmatched. There's no doubt, and this administration is not taking it seriously enough, particularly on our military assets.
Well, what do we need on military assets most urgently? What do we need to get out there faster?
Well, I always like to talk about the 3 levels of deterrence, which is what we need, right? A war in the Taiwan Strait is not going to be started by the United States or Taiwan. It's going to be started by Xi Jinping. So the 3 levels of deterrence that I think we need to strengthen each level. The first is the kind of porcupine strategy, what we need to be getting the Taiwanese so they can defend themselves. And that is asymmetrical weapon systems, harpoons, stingers, javelins, HIMARS. You know, we got a $19 billion backlog, Paul, on what they need and what they want. So that's number one. The second level of deterrence is, will the U.S. show up with our allies? That's been the traditional level of deterrence when there have been a crisis. The third one is a really important one, doesn't get talked about a lot, and that's the economic sanctions, financial sanctions, energy sanctions that I think we should let the Chinese know, hey, if you invade, here's what you're going to get hit with. Representative Gallagher and I, a couple days ago, introduced the Stand with Taiwan Act. These are very significant, crushing sanctions that would be in place if they invaded Taiwan. And I think all 3 of those levels of deterrence are the key to preventing a war in the Taiwan Strait, but we need to strengthen all of them.
Okay, let me turn to an issue close to our heart here at the Journal. Evan Greskovich, arrested, a journalist working for the Journal in Moscow, arrested by the Russians apparently on espionage charges. What should the U.S. do to try to get him freed?
Well, look, first of all, I just always want to do a shout out to our reporters, both in Ukraine and in Russia. This dangerous duty, and this is another example of that. And you know, I think that this issue is, these are challenging issues because you want to bring people home, but I also worry about cutting deals, right? I think this last deal with the arms dealer, you know, of course, we're all happy to get our hostage home, but we just got one. We still have that Marine, Mr. Whalen, there. And I worry that when we cut more deals, it just encourages more hostage taking. So I think everybody needs to raise their voices on this, which I put out a statement on it yesterday. But I don't know if cutting deals with other hostages or other Russian bad actors is the way to solve it, or does that actually increase the problem?
Well, we'll see. We would definitely want to get our.
I know you want to get them home. We all want to get them home. And again, my hat's off to all the great work that our reporters are doing in these dangerous countries.
We only got about 45 seconds left, but let's talk about energy. The House this week passed H.R. 1, big permitting bill, a lot of increased U.S. production. Does that have any chance in the Senate?
Well, look, Schumer said it's dead on the arrival. The president said he'll veto it, but let's have that debate. They are scared to death of that debate. By the way, in the House, that was a bipartisan bill.
Right.
And we could certainly get votes in the Senate, Democrat votes in the Senate for a bill like that. And the key to that, there's so many good parts of that bill, but the permitting reform components are fabulous. And our country needs major NEPA reform that has it. We need to be able to bring projects online much more quickly. You know, Alaska is kind of ground zero for these delay projects. We had a gold mine in our great state, took 20 years to permit. I mean, this is killing us. So I think we are already working on our own bill, and we are going to try and bring that to the floor, force some votes on that, and we'll see. Let's have that debate. The American people want American energy by American workers. And this is a really good first step, and I applaud the members of the House for doing this.
Senator Dan Sullivan, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.